Good morning and welcome to Trail Grazers, where we specialize in preparing food for the trail, and we're chomping at the bit to get out on the trail, and we're getting closer and closer. Our schedule is still in flux because we still have workmen coming into the kitchen. We've had some pretty major problems that have had to be dealt with, and hopefully we're going to get things resolved so that we can start getting out a little bit. We had our trailer de-winterized last week and it froze last night. So we're in that time of year where it fluctuates between freezing and warming. We're just about to hit our last frost date according to the tables. We're in zone 7B, and by May 15th, which is still a week and a little bit, about 8 days away, so we're not supposed to be cold anymore, but you know, the weather is the weather. Now, what we're going to be doing today has its link right back to last week when we were down at Lake Powell with John and Cindy on their houseboat. Cindy served us these enclosed sandwiches that are called bieroks. And she got the recipe from a friend. It makes 60. They were delicious. Traditional bieroks is a German, Polish sandwich that has hamburger and cabbage with spices mixed together, and then on the inside, enclosed on the inside of a beautiful, soft bread roll to where there's no leakage. And that's what we're going after, because can you imagine how convenient it would be for us to be on a road trip in our car, which we have some of those planned for this summer, and then we have our little car oven and our car refrigerator to pull out some bieroks and heat them up in our little oven and have them on the go. Sandwiches that don't leak or drip, but that are all enclosed. And so I think this is the perfect trail food. I'm not going to do the traditional filling, which is why I'm not really calling this about bieroks. These are leakless sandwiches, and they're in the same tradition as bieroks. We're going to do the same methodology with our bread, but we are going to rehydrate some of our freeze-dried foods. We're going to rehydrate our barbecued chicken, which we just did a recent video on, and some of our carnitas, which are 1.5 years old. And we did a video for Trail Grazers March of 22. So actually these are just about 1 year old. So we're going to rehydrate these, and then I'm going to do little mini hot dogs. So I have just finished kneading a batch of bread from our new bread cookbook that just went on sale a couple of weeks ago and is now in our bookstore. It is potato rolls and burger buns. Cindy gave me the recipe for the dough that she used, and when I looked at it and it made 60, I thought I don't want 60, and I got to looking at that recipe, cut it in half, and it is almost identical to this roll dough that is potato, and you can make regular rolls or buns, hamburger buns. I've made hamburger buns with it, and today we're going to use it for our bieroks knockoff. The one addition that I needed to make it more in line with what Cindy's recipe was, is that I needed to put 2 extra tablespoons of the melted butter or ghee. So this is going to rise. And while it is busy rising, we are going to work on our fillings. You may remember, if you watched that video, that what we did when we rehydrated it is that we rehydrated it with a mixture of one of the barbecue sauces that we used to mix it up, mixed with water, so that it was runny enough to rehydrate the meat. Trying to rehydrate it in this viscous barbecue sauce would not work because it's too thick to quickly and easily move into the cells. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Stir this up. Now, we are making about 15 rolls today. So that means that I'm going to be putting 3 different fillings into 5 rolls each. That's about in my head what I figure that we're going to be doing. It doesn't take a whole lot of filling. It takes about just a little bit over a tablespoon. So we'll start with this, run this in the microwave for a minute, and then see how it rehydrates. This is after 60 seconds in the microwave, and it looks just about perfect. We're going to set that aside, and now we're going to move to the carnitas. I love carnitas. And you may remember, if you watch the original video, that I also canned what was left of the broth after we cooked that pork shoulder. So we are going to be using the original broth. Because I have a layer of fat here, I'm going to do this one just a little bit differently. I'm going to heat up the broth first, and then we will add it to the carnitas. Meanwhile, we will put some of this in a bowl now that I know about how much we're going to need. Just a little bit more. It's been a while since I've tasted this. I just have to indulge myself. Oh, really great. All right, so we're going to pour some of the broth right on the top of these carnitas. Let them soak that up. So Jim and I really like hot dogs. And what I'm going to try is a pure experiment. So Cindy did hot dogs as well, and I thought they were pretty good. So we're going to build on what she did. And I'm going to cut these in half because they're kind of too long to go in the way they are. So I'm going to cut them in half this way. Then I'm going to cut them in half almost all the way so that I can open them up like this. I'm going to put them in a frying pan and fry them this way. And then I'm going to slather them with a little bit of mustard and add some sauerkraut. And then we will wrap all of that up in a bread roll, and we'll see. It's kind of like pigs in a blanket glorified. I have to tell you the story of this mustard. Recently, we have discovered a little restaurant, a little kind of hole-in-the-wall restaurant that is local, which we have lived here for 12 years and didn't know existed. I don't know how long it's been around, maybe not 12 years. But we heard about it because they make this giant pretzel. I mean, it comes in a pizza box. It's so huge. And it comes with 3 different dipping sauces. The other day, John and Cindy were down here for their 20th anniversary and stopped by, and we took them out to this place and ordered a great big pretzel. And one of the dipping sauces that we decided on was this mustard. This is just about the best mustard I have ever tasted. We had some extra after we dipped our pieces of pretzel into this, and so I brought it home. That's the mustard that I'm going to be using. So we're going to go off camera for a few minutes while I prepare these hot dogs, and then we'll come back. I have pan-fried these half hot dogs, and I've put mustard on them. I'm now going to put a clump of sauerkraut on each one. And these will be ready for the dough as soon as the dough is ready. All right, I'm pretty excited about these hot dogs. I hope they will be great. We are now going to take a little break until our dough is ready. It is started to rise, so that's really good. It needs to double in size, probably about another half hour or so. So we will be back when this is ready to go. Our dough has doubled in size, so we're ready to go. I have re-vacuum sealed these 2, so they are now ready to go out, back out into our food bank for the next time we need to use them. So I have my scale right here, and I've put it in a little 1-quart bag so that I can now put it under running water and wash it off when it gets dirty. It's really handy to do it that way. We're going to take our dough out. And 971 grams. So let's find out what each roll should weigh if we divide this dough by 15. Hey Siri, what is 900? Oh, it's 974.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you restate the question?
Hey Siri, what is 974 divided by 15?
974 divided by 15 is approximately 64.9333.
So we're going to go for 65 grams per. I am shaping, giving these rolls their first shaping. And so I've just taken the dough that we took out of the final rise there, the final proofing, and I am bringing everything into the corner on the underside, into the center, and then putting the ball under my cupped hand and then rolling it around. So I'm punching down a center and then bringing all the little corners into that center, flipping it over, and I'm using my countertop that kind of grips the dough a little bit while I run it around in a circle, and it makes such a lovely round ball. And we have 15 of those shaping up right over here. Punch down in the center, bring everything into the center. Flip it over, and then roll it under my hand. Now we're going to start filling. So I'm going to take one and turn it upside down and flatten it with my hand. And we're starting with the carnitas. I'm just going to put a heaping tablespoon of dough there. Bring the edges up. That's too much. Bring those edges up over the meat, pinching them closed. All right, I'm learning as I'm going here. We need to keep the meat as dry as possible so it is going to actually seal. Just going to put a little flour on that to make it less sticky. And so it will stick. There we go. And then I'm going to roll it again. And put it here. All right, I'm going to start a new row. This row is my carnitas row, so I'll continue with it. But I want to show you, we're going to try now a hot dog. And I'm just going to take one of these and turn it upside down. Stretch over the top, trying to keep out of the mustard. These are going to be a little bit more square. Well, that worked out really nicely. So there we have a hot dog. Well, I have learned a few things with this first trial at B-Rocks. So I'm going to do the last one on camera and show you a couple of things that I've learned. First of all, the barbecue chicken was the most difficult because it was the most runny. And so I'll show you how I mitigated that. Okay, so making sure that the round circle is large enough is important. I also kept a little bit of flour right here that I could bring in anytime I needed it. So I'm putting on about the same amount that I did from the beginning, which is a heaping tablespoon. Now, because this is extra runny, I blotted this. And I have figured out that you don't want to get the roll dough wet because then it's more difficult to stick. And so after blotting that, then I pull the sides up and pinch them together like a taco. Now I have some leakage right there, so I want to capture that with a paper towel. And then I just bring this corner up over the top and the other corner up over the top to form it into a ball. If I've gotten the dough wet, it doesn't stick together really well. So then I add a little bit more flour to help seal it up. And that does the trick. So this is one of the least problematic ones that I've done with the chicken, barbecued chicken. So here they are, all 15. And the square one, of course, are the hot dogs. And so we'll let them rise until they're just a little bit puffy. Then we will put them in the oven and I'll bring you back when we're ready to do that. The oven is preheated and ready. I have egg white mixed with a little bit of water that we're going to brush on these rolls. And they have gotten more puffy, which is just the way we want them. Now, just by way of review, if you use the recipe in the bread book, page 44, which is potato rolls and burger buns, you will need to just add a couple of tablespoons extra of the butter or ghee. And also, in the original recipe that Cindy gave me, there was no potato. But potato makes such a soft dough. I left the potato in because I love these potato rolls. It will be just a beautiful soft dough. Now this is 1/4 of the recipe capacity that Cindy gave to me. So we made only 15. If you want to do it like she does, you can 4 times this recipe and make 60. These freeze really, really well. So we're brushing them with egg white mixed with a little bit of water just to give them a nice shine. And we hope none of them leak as they bake. I learned a lot doing this first batch. Next time I'll be much more efficient. All right, these are ready to go in the oven. We will get them in, and I'm going to start checking them at about 20 minutes. So I imagine that they will bake between 20 and 25 minutes, and we'll be back when they're coming out of the oven. Just out of the oven, ouch, ouch. Okay, they look beautiful. I took the temperature and the bread was up to about 195. So I believe that they are all done. And we're going to move them over here to this rack. We'll be back when they have cooled and we are ready to taste test. It is getting to the time of year when we have to dodge the sun on our countertop from the skylights. So I'm trying to move out of the sun because it makes the colors just go wacko. But here are our bieroks, and they have cooled. I'm going to cut 1 in half of each flavor. Okay, this looks like it is the carnitas. These will be the, yeah, this is the hot dog. I was just seeing if I could cut it in the right way. Oh, and I did, I made it. So there's the hot dog. And the last one is going to be, of course, the barbecued chicken. No, this is the carnitas. The first one was the barbecued chicken. So barbecued chicken and carnitas. So now we have to take a bite of each one to see how they turned out. So this is the barbecued chicken. Mmm. Oh. This is going to be tough to beat. This is wonderful. So here's the hot dogs with the mustard and the sauerkraut. Oh. Jim, you're going to love this.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. How fun is that? That one's really good too. So let's see how the carnitas did. Oh my. They are all three really, really good. I was a little afraid that the carnitas flavor was going to be dampened by the bread around it, but it isn't. It is just simply delicious. These are going to be wonderful sandwiches for taking on the trail. And so we're going to close out this video so Jim can now participate in taste testing the Birocs as well. Just another little note, because I didn't give the exact recipe. Those of you that have the bread book will have the recipe. Those that don't, if you don't have a soft bread recipe, if you look up Birocs on Google, you will find there's dozens of recipes for the dough, and they're all very, very similar. So you can get a recipe that way. So thank you so much for being with us, and we're so glad to have you along with us on our adventures, and we hope to see you out there on the trail.